What's up, everybody? SDZ Gamer here, and welcome to another of Let's Play Phoenix Wright versus Professor Layton. I got that switched around. Whatever, you got the idea. I should probably start calling this Let's Narrate the Game or whatever I'm doing. But anyway, hi, welcome. We were just talking about the tomato juice being possibly poisoned. And that's where we're gonna be going on from here. Yes. Pushy buttons.
Objection!
Bomb's like, no! That may be so, but tell me this. How would the culprit have managed to obtain such a strong soporific? It was very simple, and I think you realize why. From the alchemist. That's right, an alchemist would no doubt have a wide variety of various medicinaments in their possession. Did you know English is not my first language? And an apprentice would have little trouble stealing some of them from their study. Isn't that right, Miss Grey Earl? How should I respond to that? I'm sorry to disappoint you. May perhaps be the best way to put it. What do you mean? I think I should change the judge's voice to be a little bit more closer to what they have in this one. Even though that juice bottle has been safely stored for the past 3 months, I'm positive it would be impossible to find any traces of that soporific now. You wicked! This is unbelievable! Was it really the butler who did it? But everything she says holds true. She was pretending to be a boy. That is mighty suspicious to start with. Is she a witch? Ow. Hold on, everyone! The butler couldn't have done that to Sir Belduke. She would never, ever do it. Please, let us testify just one more time. Miss Grayle, let's tell them. Let's prove they're wrong. They have no idea how much you've done for Sir Belduke. Miss Mailer. Very well, I shall grant your request. Testify about the relationship between Miss Grey Earl and Sir Belduke. Awkward. Witness testimony! The alchemist and his butler. Master took me in, a complete stranger. I will forever be indebted to him. That's why I could never make an attempt on his life, through magic or otherwise. Sir Belduke was a wonderful man. He's the one who recommended this line of work for me. And he's the one who told me about it. The confidentiality obligation, I mean. I've never once broken it. It's true that Sir Belduke evoked fear due to his being an alchemist. However, he was also a man of admirable character who supported the townsfolk through his research. Why would anyone want to kill such a man? This question keeps haunting me, however much I think about it. Witches need no reason behind their evil. That is what makes them witches. How very straightforward. Now, the defense may begin its interrogation. Cross-examination! Yeah! Alright, we're gonna be pressing on... That's why I never make an attempt in his life.
Hold it!
You're claiming you had no reason to kill Sir Belduke. Yes, you can ask whomever you wish, and I'm sure they will say the same. That is so. It is widely known that Jean Grey Earl was devoted to serving Sir Belduke. It's difficult to imagine that she could brutally murder her respected master. Indeed, I am of the same opinion. I have visited Sir Belduke on several occasions to inquire about this piece of evidence or that. And I must say I felt there was a strong bond of trust between him and Miss Grey Earl. Do you still think you can come up with a motive? Motive? Jean Grey Earl's motive for murder. Grey Earl risked a lot to conjure up a small portal in the wall. And then she killed Belduke. But what motive did she have? Let's suggest another motive. I understand. The defense will present evidence. Wakate. Excuse me. Evidence is to indicate Jean Grey Earl's motive for murder. No. Wait, what? What's this about, Sir Blue Knight? Sir Belduke's life was taken that day. That's a fact. However, was this actually the culprit's true objective?
Objection!
What? This is nonsense! Sir Belduke was murdered! What other possible reason could there be besides someone wanting him dead? I'm fairly positive this piece of evidence will lead us to the culprit's real motive. Very well. Defense, present evidence to indicate Jean Grey's motive for committing the crime. Where's that blank letter? Let's present the blank letter.
Take that!
Miss Greyl had no reason for wanting to kill Sir Belduke. However, there was another incident that night which is related to this case. Oop, better watch that accent. And I have an idea what it was. Another incident. I'm referring to this letter. Sir Belduke wrote a letter shortly before his death, yet all we have here are some blank sheets of parchment. Fascinating. Are you saying maybe a witch used some kind of ink-removing magic on that letters, Mr. Wright? No, the spell used by the witch was, of course, Goldor. Let's go over the state of the crime scene one more time. As we know from Miss Mailer's testimony, the letter was in a letterbox next to the victim's head. Oh yes, it's in the sketch as well. The letterbox is on the far side of the shelf. The point of the note is the location of that letterbox. Unbelievable. As Inquisitor Barnum seems to have noticed, the letter is within reach, letterbox, of the small portal conjured by the witch, behind the painting on the wall. Oh, indeed it is. And as Sir Belduke's butler, you would have known exactly where he keeps his letters. Ooh. Indeed, Master Belduke would always keep his letters in that letterbox before posting them. You mentioned no such thing! Miss Grey Earl, you created a portal with Goldor, not with the intention of killing Sir Belduke. You were after this letter, weren't you? That's merely wild conjecture. I didn't even know about that letter at the time. Oh? You didn't? Now that's very strange. When Miss Mailer came by that night, Sir Belduke was busy writing that letter. And that's when you entered, carrying a bottle of tomato juice. There's no way you wouldn't have known that your master was writing a letter to someone. And you could have known even more than that. For instance, perhaps you knew that he was writing what he was writing about. That's enough. I served Master Belduke as his butler. I never would have pried into his private affairs. Whatever it was he wrote about in his final letter to the storyteller. Oh! It is no concern of mine. We never said anything about who it's for. Your Honor. Yes, defense? I'd like Miss Grey Earl's last statement to be added to her testimony. Any objections, Inquisitor Barnum? No, my lord. Well, very well. Witness, include what you just told us in your testimony. As you wish, my lord. I had no reason to take his life nor steal his letter to the storyteller.
Hold it!
Let me get this straight. You didn't know anything about the victim's letter. That's right. I believe I had said as much already. Then how did you know? How did you know it was addressed to the storyteller? Ah, indeed. Why don't you answer his question, witness? It's true, this letter is addressed to the storyteller. But when did you find out about it? I have spoken about the murder with many people over the past 3 months. Whoa. What we have? Actually, am I supposed to press on that? Well, why not?
Hang on!
Excuse me, Miss Mailer.
Oh!
I thought I caught her off guard, but it's her screech that's caught me off guard. Is there perhaps anything you'd like to add to Miss Grayl's testimony?
No, not really.
In that case, let me ask you a different question. Did you tell Miss Grayl about Sir Belduke's letter?
I don't know,
Mailer! Do not beat about the bush, witness. Answer the question. If I may briefly interrupt. I am testifying right now. If you wish to question Miss Mailer, please do so once you have finished interrogating me. She's not going to let me question Mailer from the looks of it, and she's so keen to prevent her from answering. This might be a critical point in the testimony. I've got to find another way to fishing out that information. You know, I think Mailer has a crush on Jean Grayl. Witness, continue testifying. Alright, let me repress that, because I don't think I was supposed to do anything there.
Hold
Let
it!
me just skip right through.
Witness.
Everyone has been very kind to me. They have also told me all sorts of things. I must have heard about it from someone at some point. Well, that incident was certainly much talked about. Would you not agree, defense? Does her testimony hold together? No. It's not fine! There is a huge contradiction to Miss Grayl's testimony. You are becoming very predictable, Sir Knight. If there's a contradiction, I hope you have the evidence to prove it. Here's my chance. There's only one way to expose this contradiction. I can't present evidence. The defense has no intention of presenting evidence. What? The proof that there is a contradiction cannot be found in the court record. What? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? The professor pointed it out to me in the previous witch trial. In this court, an attorney's arsenal isn't limited to the court record. Each of the witnesses in this trial has given their own account of what occurred. Therefore, whenever one witness has testified, the other remaining witnesses have listened. Should one witness' testimony differ from another's testimony, then I suppose that in itself can also be considered a contradiction, can it not? Wow, I haven't done Layton's voice in a while! I'm like, wait, how do you do his voice again? Just opposing contradictory testimonies from different witnesses is the key. Miss Grayl, your testimony contradicts another one that we've heard in this court today. Now we gotta find it. And the answer is... And he's the one who told me about it. The confidentiality obligation, I mean. I've never once broken it.
Objection!
Boom! I love how they turned him around. Thanks, Luke, for objecting. It was a single word that gave you away, Miss Grayl. What do you mean by that? The name of the recipient. There were only a few people who knew the intended recipient of that letter. 4 people, to be precise. Only 4 people. First was Sir Belduke, the author of the letter. Then there was Miss Mailer, who delivered it. And of course, the storyteller, its recipient. As well as one more person. The one who stole the letter using a portal spell and swapped it with the blank sheets of parchment. The witch.
Maybe I did. Maybe I spilled the beans about the letter. I mean, maybe I told the butler.
You did what?
Well, because you see, me and the butler are sort of friends. And it was about our dear Sir Belduke. I feel like I might have told her about it after all. See? If I did, that's how she knew. About the recipient, I mean.
Objection!
I understand that you are friends with Miss Grey Earl and you want to help her out. But I've got a piece of advice, Miss Mailer. You shouldn't lie, even for a friend.
Huh?
Remember your testimony. You told us about the courier's duty to keep the details of letters confidential. And you have also testified that you have never broken that obligation, remember? Oh, she's so cute! But hold on just a minute. As the victim's butler, Jean Grey Earl might have had a chance to catch a glimpse of the envelope.
Objection!
No, she didn't. When Miss Mailer came with the delivery, Sir Belduke was still writing that letter. In fact, he was in the middle of it at that time. The letter had not been addressed yet. And the next morning when the body was discovered, that letter was already in the letterbox. Keep in mind that Miss Grey Earl would have had no opportunity to see it then either. Is that so? She went to report the crime without even setting foot in the study. And then Miss Mailer appeared and retrieved the letter. Needless to say, Miss Grey Earl couldn't have learned of the letter's recipients afterwards. Oof, jumbling my words all over the place, but it's getting dramatic! Or maybe you have a good explanation, Miss Grey Earl. I'd very much like to hear one. Can you please tell the court how you found out the recipient's name? Mr. Wright. Yes? Do you remember what I said when I was called to the witness stand? Yes? No, I don't remember. At the heart of the alchemy lies the pursuit of the rules and logic that govern nature. You have demonstrated the power of your own logic. Miss Grey Earl. Are you saying? Yes, I confess. The abhorrent witch who used the spell Godor to swap the contents of that letter, and who took the life of Master Belduke. It was none other than I. I'm surprised that wasn't voiced. Oh, sleepy feet. Okay. Aww. Awkward silence. Oh no, this track is so sad. I was an only child, born to a poor family. I've been a witch since I was very little. When did I become aware of it? I don't remember. Although I was but a young child, I knew that being a witch was a crime. That's why I hid my witch's scepter and wouldn't use magic at all. My father worked as a bricklayer. He toiled every day, but we could hardly make ends meet. One winter day, we couldn't afford to pay the rent. We were going to lose the house. My mother was in tears, and my father was sitting with his head down, wordless.
I want money for Mummy and Daddy.
That day, I suddenly remembered about the witch's scepter that I had hidden. The Goldor spell. I thought I tried it just once, casting the spell. But at the time, I had no idea what an irreversible mistake that would be. Even though no one told me, I knew from the very beginning what magic I was able to use. What should I turn into gold? I was thinking about it really hard, the little girl that I was. Something that wouldn't stand out, that could be taken for a work of art. Then I decided. I chose a pretty leaf that had fallen into our garden. But it was the right thing to do after all. I was terribly punished for using magic, even just the once. Punished? In what way were you punished? I placed the leaf down in the back garden and cast a spell, but then Margaret suddenly walked in front of me. Margaret? My closest childhood friend. Margaret. Right before my eyes, she was turned into gold. Oh dear me! I screamed and cried, but I knew I couldn't ask anyone for help. If anyone had seen it, they would have known it was the work of magic, and I knew Margaret wasn't coming back. That's terrible. Then my mother and father's faces flashed before my eyes. We may have been very poor, but we were always happy together. Had I been captured as a witch, I feared my parents probably wouldn't have been safe either. That thought tormented me more than anything, and so I made the decision. I decided to end my own life. Please remember this for future references for the final trial. I threw myself into the river near the town. It was winter and the water was as cold as ice. I couldn't even move. It was painful. My consciousness started drifting away. The next thing I knew, I was in Master Belduke's residence. He risked his own life jumping into the freezing river to save me. I burst into tears and told him everything. I didn't want to go back home. I would only end up causing my parents grief. Master Belduke listened to me without interrupting, and then he told me this.
You can stay here, but from now on, you must live as a boy.
Master Belduke met with my parents and explained everything to them. They were very sad, but they agreed it would be best if I didn't return home. Poor Miss Greyle, that must have been so awful for her. Master bought the house for my parents so they wouldn't have to worry about paying rent anymore. As for Margaret, turned into gold, he brought her to his residence. He knew that if anyone saw her, they would report an incident of witchcraft. And this, Miss Margaret, is she still in that golden state? Yes, she is. That's strange. We have received no reports of anyone by that name having gone missing. Margaret is being kept in the basement under Master's study. Wait! What? Oh! Is it the goat? The basement? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this Margaret, is she a... Yes, my dear friend was a goat that we were keeping at our house. A goat? Until then, Master Belduke had mainly been researching medicine. But since the incident with Margaret, he became known as an alchemist. So that's when he became an alchemist. I was wondering why the goat was the only thing not covered in dust. Okay. Really, I was thinking it was a person, but okay, it's a goat. That's how I started a new life as Master Belduke's butler. Sir Belduke would sometimes work as a physician, curing the townspeople of their illness. As his assistant, you have also shown commitment to helping the townspeople through your work. I forgot about being a witch and was able to live happily, at peace with everyone. I thought it could stay like that forever. But those peaceful days came to an abrupt end. Tell us, what in the world was the cause? Even I'm not quite sure what led to this. However, it all started 3 months ago with that lightning strike. Master Belduke and I were on our way back home, carrying specimens for experiments. An old bell tower appeared in the flames. Everyone who saw it was stupefied. But the expression on Master Belduke's face was unlike anything I'd seen before. What do you mean? His face went pale and twisted in sheer terror. He was shaking violently. It wasn't just astonishment at an unusual phenomenon. It seemed as if he was afraid of something more concrete. Perhaps Sir Belduke saw something that the others couldn't. He cancelled his experiments for that night and began writing a letter to someone. A letter? I found out about it when I brought him his bottle of tomato juice. He was writing feverishly as if he were possessed. I saw some things. A few words in that letter. Expose everything. Cannot keep this secret any longer. The truth about the witch. Oh. Master Belduke was going to confess that I was a witch. Everything went black in front of my eyes. I will never forget the feeling that overwhelmed me at that moment. Is that when you decided to commit the crime? What I did first was accidentally singe a part of the wall in my room. It was an excuse to repaint that section of the wall green. Then you also painted the wall behind that painting in Sir Belduke's study. I love how this is all being done on the same night. Was it all done in the same night? And when that fateful night came... Oh, I guess it was a different night. I used a syringe to inject a sporific through the cork and into the bottle of tomato juice. So many thoughts were running through my head as I wished Master a good night. I opened the portal behind him. He was right there in front of me, asleep. I reached for the letter in the letterbox, taking care not to wake him. And then I happened to notice the name on the envelope. Storyteller. When I read that name, the world all around me turned black once more. It's impossible to avoid what is written by the storyteller. It seemed as if I could hear the doors to all escape routes shutting closed. It was the sound of despair. I would like you to believe me, that the thought of taking Master Belduke's life would never once occur to me. I only planned to steal the letter and then disappear. But as I looked upon Master sleeping there in front of me, at that moment I felt an evil presence awaken within me. Why did he save my life? And why did he betray me? Before I realized what I was doing, my hands were clutching his neck. He didn't move at all, so I kept on clenching his neck. That's it. That's the truth about what happened 3 months ago. Well, this definitely took a very, very dark turn. But it makes me really sad. There is just one thing I fail to understand. Yes. You said you wanted to run away once you had stolen the letter. Yet despite that, you continue to live in Sir Belduke's residence, and now here you stand. Why did you not run away? My life had been thrown into disarray due to the absurdity of magic. I had learned all about alchemy, living at Master's residence. Alchemy is concerned with the logic that governs the world. I wanted to believe that there truly was such a thing. So I'd stay in that place, hoping to one day see the irrational nature of magic overcome by the power of reason. Magic being overcome by reason? That night, I swapped the letter with blank sheets of parchment and waited for the sun to rise. I resolved to wait for the day when my true identity could be exposed through reason and logic. Master's death remained a mystery for 3 months, and people started to lose interest. And then you appear, Mr. Wright. On the day you visited the residence, I was listening to your conversation from the other room. Has the time finally come for me? My heart was racing with anticipation. Then, a few minutes after everyone entered that room, an unbelievable incident took place. That incident? A witch appeared in Master's study. What? I wanted to get a look at the witch, so I created a portal in the wall behind the painting. Precisely at that moment. Goldor! The witch used one of the very spells that I can use too. When I heard those words, a single thought flashed throughout my mind. This was my chance. I could dispose of my witch's scepter. I knew at the time what kind of a witch the Inquisition would be looking for. A witch that can use Famalia and Goldor. It occurred to me that I only needed to change one of the magic gems. I had previously found out that the Famalia gem was purple. I realized that if I swapped the Goldor magic gem for my amethyst, I could pin the blame for the crime on that other witch. So you changed one of the gems and threw the witch's scepter into that room, is that correct? Exactly.
Objection!
Wait a minute, Jean Grey. This statement of yours is highly problematic. How so, Inquisitor Barnum? Yes, you are right. Can someone explain to me what this is about? Well, I guess we'll have to find out in the next video, because unfortunately, we are 30 minutes into this thing. Sorry, guys. Guess I'll leave you guys with an obnoxious cliffhanger now, and I'll see you guys